Happy Death Day. So Happy Death Day follows that formula we're pretty much familiar with, most notably made famous in Groundhog's Day. It feels to me like this is being done more and more and more. In this one we have a sorority girl named Tree who is being stalked by this baby-faced killer. And it also happens to be her birthday. And from there I think you pretty much know what happens. She relives the same day over and over and over again. This time constantly being stalked by the same killer out to get her, dying many different ways until she can figure out who her killer is before she gets stabbed in the back. And that's all I'll pretty much say without giving any spoilers to you guys. This is a spoiler-free review. I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like, hit you with a rating system just like this one, breaking down the elements of the film and giving you a final ranking. Before talking further on the film, we have to talk about this premise that's being done over and over again. I think a lot of people get upset when this premise comes around. They all say, oh, it's copying Groundhog's Day, oh, Groundhog's Day. Yeah, Groundhog's Day made it famous, but they can't just take the spotlight of one premise. I think what they're trying to implement in this film is really interesting, really fun. Who wouldn't want to be stalked by a killer and get to live infinite lives? Scary at first, but then hella fun. And maybe that's what this film was going for. Scary with a fun twist. Before going into that though, let me get into some of the positives about the film. Of course, it is a fun little Halloween film. It's going to come around the time of Halloween in the middle of October. Classic dame in distress by a stalker serial killer. Not just that, but it's also a mystery film. It's a whodunit. So in that aspect, it's fun watching the films, looking at all the clues, seeing the potential suspects. In that aspect, it was pretty fun to watch. But I think that's where the positives end for this film. It's mostly a premise that makes it fun, and you get all that out of the way within the first 30 minutes. And then the film just seems to drag on from there, leading me into some of the negatives. Now, Blumhouse makes some of the best low-budget horror films. Every film they come out with, I'm immediately interested in just because they give such a low budget, which makes them focus more on a story perspective. They were on a steady streak of great films, but then they started putting out some films that are not so great and that are looking to not be so great. First thing that fails is the actual premise. So like I said, just because Groundhog Day did it before doesn't mean no other film can do it. I'm sure a film out there can find the fun twist and excitement that Groundhog Day once had, or still does have. But when a film follows that formula, you have to dedicate a lot of time in the film to the same formulaic events. What I mean by that is every day has to start with a song, and then it has to start with a bunch of random coincidental events that no one can predict, but they're gonna predict because they relived it over and over. They have to have that moment where they tell a friend, oh, this is gonna happen, then this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. See, I'm psychic, or I'm living the same day over and over again. And then the most cliche part of it all, why am I living this day over and over? It must have a special meaning. I gotta solve this little mystery and I can move on with my life. And all those little elements really water down the film and take away from what could have been a really fun horror film. One, it's PG-13, which I'm assuming they could have done a great job with. But I think this film could have benefited from an R rating. You're telling me you're gonna have a movie where you can die infinite amount of ways and still come back? But you're gonna take away all the blood, all the gore, all the guts, and this is a horror film? Okay. Not that big of a setback. You still have potential for a lot of suspense and thriller and mystery, right? This isn't a spoiler. You see it in the trailer. Eventually, she's gonna get to a point where she realizes, oh, I have infinite amount of lives. Let me see if I can figure this killer out before I die. That would have been nice to play throughout the whole film and build some suspense. What they do is they put a catchy pop song over it and turn it into some Disney Channel montage where they're getting killed. It does not fit into the film at all. I have no idea why they're putting these loud pop songs in a horror film. Acting isn't something that this film has a strong suit in. The main character is unlikable, gross, and not really a person you want to root for, and I'm assuming that's all part of why someone would want to kill her, but you have to stick around this whole film watching her. I was having a watchable time with this film, and honestly, the one thing that was gonna save it for me, because the film was starting to really just take a dive as it continued on, was there's gotta be a twist. Any film where they reveal who the killer is and why the killer is doing it, it's always a twist. There's gotta be a twist. And I will say there is some sort of twist involved, but when it comes down to it, why the killer was killing, the motive was completely unjustified and dumb. Honestly, just took the film down another notch. I really think Blumhouse could have had something with this film, especially when throughout the whole film they're building up to all these reasons of what it could be. There's her birthday involved, and then there's this character wanting this, and this character doing this, and then you find out it's this person because of this. So it's a twist just because it's really unreasonable and dumb. Alright, I mean, you got me. It's 2017, right? Hurricanes. I know I just really badmouthed the film, but honestly, it's just a dumb, fun watch. It's nothing that's terrible and horrible. It's just dumb and fun. Don't expect this to be a straight up horror film. Don't even really expect it to be a thriller. It doesn't blend the horror and comedy aspects very well, but if you're wanting something to see in mid-October with a group of friends and just kind of want to laugh, this is something you can watch. If not, wait for it to come out on Netflix and enjoy it with a bag of chips. So in the end, for Happy Death Day, I'm gonna give action 1 star. There really isn't anything in the film that justifies a true action scene. I don't think a stalker chasing after a girl is considered action. Comedy in the film, I'm going to give 1.5 stars. Believe it or not, this horror film tried to be a bit of a comedy, but it did not succeed. Drama in the film, I'm going to give 1.5 stars because, like I said, they're building up to all these little mystery clues and stuff that it could be, and when it's all revealed, the whole film falls apart and it loses its rewatch value. Horror in the film, I'm going to give 2 stars just because it is a killer chasing after a girl, but it's not very suspenseful, especially when your main character is wearing a mask of a baby. Suspense in the film, I am going to give 1.5 stars. There's about a few moments in the beginning that have you riled up. Casual fans, I'm going to give it a B-. Cinephiles, I'm going to give it a C-. And critically, I'm going to give it an F. In the end, Happy Death Day is worth a rent. So that's just my opinion on Happy Death Day, guys. Do you have any other film other than Groundhog's Day that you think did this premise well? Not too many come to mind, but there are still so many things they can include with this. How about a zombie film where you relive the same day over and over? That could be something. But as always, guys, I'm Chris. Thank you for watching. Take care.